Hello, Algebra 2. Here we are with Chapter 7, Lesson 1, Introduction to Graphing Exponential Functions. Okay, our first exponential function is called the growth function, where it's going to be some constant raised to the power of x. So instead of the x being on the ground down here, x is in the exponent. So our exponents are going to change, and that's why this is going to curve. It's going to get really big, really fast. Alright, so right here, these are called anchor points, and these are the three most important points for graphing our exponential functions. Okay, let's pretend that we had f of x equals 3 to the x. Alright, if I put in negative 1, 3 to the negative 1 is equal to 1/3. So we'd have negative 1, comma 1/3, or 1 over our b, 1 over 3. Anything to the 0 power is always 1, and then 3 to the first power is going to be 3, 1 comma 3. So our b value is 3. Negative 1 got me 1 over 3, 0 was 1, and 1 was the same as my big number down here. If I put in 2, it's going to be 3 to the second power, 3 squared, 9. 3 is going to be 3 to the third power, 27, and it's going to get really big, really fast. Okay, our domain, all reals, we're going forever left and right. And our range, our y's, are greater than 0. We get really close to there. We never touch 0, and we definitely don't go underneath of it for the standard form here. We're going to do some shifting later on here, and we'll be all over the place then. Okay, we have the decay function. And that's if our b value is between 0 and 1. Still positive. So we're talking little fractions here. We're talking 1/3, 1/2. Okay, for our main number. All right, and what happens then? It kind of looks like it's the other way around. This side's the big side, this side's the little side. Why is that? Well, let's think about this. What if I had f of x equals 1/2 to the x? Well, just like before, when I put negative 1 in there, 1/2 to the negative 1, that just flips it upside down. And when I flip a fraction upside down, now it flips it back over to 2. So negative 1 would be 2. 0 is still going to be 0, comma 1. And now when I put 1 in, 1/2 to the first power should give me a half. Okay, so these points kind of flip-flop. Before, this was the little one, this was the big one. Now they're flip-flop. This is the big one, this is the little one. If you keep going out here, 1/2 to the second power, 1/2 times 1/2 would be a 1/4. To the third power would be an 1/8. We're going to keep getting smaller and smaller fractions as we come this way. Okay, again, all real numbers left and right. No issues here. It's going to keep going back like this forever. And again, we're above 0. Not touching 0, not greater than or equal to 0, greater than 0. But these are the main 3 points we want to have. Negative 1, notice they're the same anchor points here. Negative 1, 1 over b, 0, comma 1, 1, comma b. Okay, and you can do more points if you need to, but those are the 3 main ones. Okay, just like with anything else we've done so far this year, we are going to have some shifting, some translations involved. Our a is going to be our multiplier and stretcher. Okay, it can also reflect it upside down if it was negative. So this is going to be our stretch, or reflect if it's negative. Okay, anything in parentheses with x, we know controls side to side, and this one's usually backwards. If it's a minus, it's actually going to go to the right. If it's a plus, it's going to go to the left. It's opposite of what you think because it's got a minus sign built into the equation. Okay, so minus minus makes it a plus, and then it's going to slide it to the right. So it's backwards of what we would naturally think because it's got a minus sign built into the equation. And then K on the outside controls our up and down. A plus goes up and a minus goes down. That one is normal for how you would naturally think about it. Okay? So let's look at some problems. It says graph each function. We might graph like the first one or graph one of these, and then we'll just talk about how to find the rest of the points. Because I think once you get your 3 points down, you're going to be able to graph it just fine. Okay? So we have 2 times 3 to the x. So on the front side, we did do 3 to the x. So here we have 2 times 3 to the x. Alright, so remember our points, our important points, our anchor points, -1, comma, 1 over b, 0, comma, 1, and 1, comma, b. Our b is 3, and we have an a multiplier on the front. We'll see how that affects it. Okay, so my b is 3. So I have -1, comma, 1 over 3, 0, comma, 1, and 1, comma, 3, just by putting the b number in. Okay? What about this times 2 in the front? It's going to stretch it out twice as much. Now we're going to go through and multiply all of our y values by 2. So now we still have -1, comma, 2/3, 0, comma, 2, and 1, comma, 6. Okay, we stretched it out, doubled all of our y values. Let's take a look at what's going on with that. Okay, so our first one, we would have had -1, 1/3, pretty low, 0, 1, and then 1, comma, 3. All right, and without knowing the general shape of that, you might just kind of draw a straight line. But we've seen the general shape, and we know it's going to curve up like this. If you wanted to make it more accurate, 1, comma, 3, remember 2, comma, 3 squared. Ooh, that'd be way up here. So I should have made mine a little steeper. Okay, and then our second one, when we doubled it, so we have -1, 2/3, 0, 2, and 2, 6, 4, 5, 6. So you can see it's really going up. We'd have 2, comma, 18. That's going to be almost straight up over here. So there's not a whole lot of difference, but it's there. We're stretching it out. Okay. Another way, besides those anchor points, again, if you want more points to use, 2 times parentheses 3 parentheses to the x power. We can graph, zoom 6, take a look. Alright, there it is. You can barely see it on this calculator. Okay, and we can go second table, and then we can get some more nice points. Okay, the negative ones here, the fraction ones, are going to be a little bit tougher, but we would have some other points here. You see, we're not going to have very many. 1, comma, 0, comma, I had the 2 times, didn't I? I did the stretched one. So 2, comma, 6, 1, comma, 6, 2, comma, 18, we're already off the graph, it's not going to be able to fit. So those main anchor points there, those first 3 points, are the ones that are most likely to fit on the graph. You might be able to get a few more on there, you might not. Okay. What if I have this, 2 times 3 to the x minus 1 plus 2? Oh no, now what do I do? Alright, don't forget your anchor points. -1, 1 over b, 0, comma 1, 1, comma b. Okay, go ahead and put those in. My b is still 3 here. And 1, comma 3. All right, now we got to do my times 2. Okay, if you're wondering in what order to do your shifts, okay, follow the order of operations. Multiplication first. So now we're going to double everything. Okay, let's double everything. What if we did... Oh, rewind. Mr. Handke's got to take a look here. Rewind. We're going to go in XY order. Sorry, guys. We're going to go XY order here. So X is first. X is first. So the opposite of minus 1, we're going to add 1 to all of our X's. Okay? So we're going to add 1 to all of our X's. We're going to have 0, comma 1/3. 1, comma 1, 2, comma 3. Okay, we're adding 1 to the x's because remember it's opposite. So instead of x minus 1, we're going to slide 1 to the right. We're going to add 1. Okay. Next, we have to do our y's. Okay, we're going to do our y's. And now with the y's, you go in order of operations. Okay, we did our x's here. And now we got to adjust the y's. So for the y's, we're going to do order of operations. You're going to have to multiply, do the multiplying first, and then add. Okay, so what am I doing to my y's? I'm multiplying all the y's by 2, and then adding 2. Okay, so y's, we got to do times 2 plus 2. You want to put a dot for the times. The x might confuse you here. So 1/3 times 2 is 2/3. Plus 2 plus 2. Yikes. Plus 2. Okay, so we're going to have 0, comma 1/3 times 2 is 2/3. Plus 2, 2 and 2/3. Okay, 1 times 2 is 2, plus 2 is 4. And we have 2, comma 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 makes it 8. That's a little confusing. So we got to do our x's first. Opposite of that, plus 1. Opposite for your x, so plus 1 to all your x's. Okay, and then your y values, you follow the order of operations. Times 2, and then plus 2. So times 2 to your y value, and then add 2. Times 2, and then add 2. Times 2, and then add 2. That's how we're getting there. Okay, one last one here. Super nasty one. Let's see if we can do it. Let's see if we can do it. 3/4 times 2/3. So this is a decay one, times 2/3 to the x plus 4 minus 2. Okay, so remember our anchor points, -1, 1 over b, 0, 1, 1b. Alright, so what are we starting with? -1, comma, 1 over 2/3. Yikes, we'll talk about that. 0, comma 1, 1, comma 2/3. So 1 over 2/3 is going to flip upside down. So it's actually -1, comma 3/2 or 1.5. 0, comma 1, 1, comma 2/3. So that's my first set. Okay, next we adjust the x's. What do we need to do to the x's? Opposite, so minus 4. X is minus 4. Okay, so that's going to put me at -5, -4, and -3. Alright, and if you need to use a calculator for the next part, for your y's, you can. Okay, we have to do 3/2 times 3/4 and then minus 2. So 3/2, that's 1.5, times 3/4 minus 2. So negative 0.875, math frac, negative 7/8, whichever one you'd prefer, it's fine with me. Okay. Then we have 1 times 3/4 minus 2. We'll go with the decimal there. Negative 4, comma, negative 1.25. And then 2/3. 2/3 times 3/4 minus 2. Negative 1.5. So negative 3, comma, negative 1.5. Okay? So if I just did a quick little sketch here of this one, we're slid way over here. Okay, but this minus 2, what's that going to do for me? Normally we're leveling out right here. This minus 2 tells me now we're going to level out right here. Negative 3, we're at negative 1.5. Negative 5, we're up here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not quite at negative 1. Negative 4, we're a little bit past it. And negative 3, we're down here a little bit more. So this is going to be like this. It's going the other way. Okay? So the main goal there, guys, is to get those first 3 points and then graph from there. Okay? So just an introductory level stuff here. So there should be a piece of graph paper on the table for you. And we're going to do page 456. And we're going to do 13 through 25. That should be 12 graphs and 1 story problem. 12 graphs and 1 story problem. The 12 graphs, okay, we got 6 that look like their growth and 6 that look like their decay. Do the best you can with them. Do the best you can with them. All right. Again, you can type them in and also go to second table and get points from there. All right. Try to follow your anchor point rules and do the best we can with those, and we'll answer questions tomorrow. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck.